What's going on, guys? Good evening, good evening. Happy Sunday night. Demon Time Mans is back indeed. How's everybody doing this evening? Happy Sunday evening. Hope you guys all had a relaxing weekend. No, I'm not eating dinner. I ate dinner already. It's delicious. I had some pulled pork. If you guys aren't aware, this stuff is the bomb. It should probably be illegal, but it's delicious. It's the Honest Tea peach. It's organic apparently, so highly, highly, highly recommend. Everybody have a good weekend? Hopefully, yeah. I slept like a lot this weekend and caught up on a lot of sleep. I was just kind of, I feel like I'm overtired from the past like 18 months of life, but it's all good. What's going on, guys? Guys, if you haven't already, please remember to like and subscribe the lives. I really do appreciate it, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm gonna try to get some like more public content out in the future, just to kind of expand on social media a bit. I feel like it's a good thing to do is to have all the platforms kind of going. So Jay's lost. Yeah, I'm an Orioles fan, if you guys didn't know. So, what is it, like 18 straight losses? I'm not even really watching. I'm just waiting for like Adley Rutschmanson to get to the big league. So, yeah, it's been pretty nasty here on the East Coast. Definitely had some rain, so. Yeah, MLB parlays are just insane. Crypto is ripping. I saw PayPal said they're going to approve buy and sells, so it's big. Just going to give everyone like 5 more minutes to get in. Yeah, NFL parlays are cool. I like daily fantasy for football is my thing, is like DraftKings. I don't really know why, but maybe that means I should be long on DKNG, but I love the daily fantasy stuff. I've almost hit a few times. That's why I've came in like top 100 a couple times. So if you play, you know that that's an accomplishment. Can you guys see the charts okay? I just want to make sure. Yeah, DraftKings is super fun. Plus the daily fantasy, I feel like, I don't know, like if your actual fantasy team just gets murked by injuries, then like you still have something to look forward to every week. And like I said, I've almost won a couple times. Not like, I've been within 10 to 15 points of winning like twice. So charts looking good. Cool. Yeah, I've won like 200 is the most I've ever won on DKNG. Damn, that's crazy. 0.2 points. That's insane. It's nice to know we have so many sports gamblers in the in the chat. I have to stay away from it like the majority of the time, because I just I know I love it, and it's not something I want to be, addicted to or doing most of the time. All right, I'm gonna give everyone 2 more minutes, and then we're gonna get started. I don't know if you guys saw, but I bought into ADA. Was it last week? Cardano, really sick breakout. I want to hold so many of these crypto names long term, but I just can't help but trade them. It's so hard not to. But really nice at the high breakout for ADA. I think this one's got room to 10 probably during the next crypto bull run, which I think we're about to see. I just was kind of leaving that Bitcoin chart up. But I think it's really, really primed for new all-time highs soon, which I think may be kind of like our movement in the fall, right? Is if we just trade the Bitcoin names. I mean, okay, obviously I don't want to look at Blue Sky Digital. We will. I am also planning a long-term live stream soon. But back to what I was saying, I think we're going to see a big melt up in these crypto names sooner than later. As far as looking at the placement of where a lot of these names are at, right? Bitcoin is approaching all-time highs, huge resistance at 60K, because obviously we had a ton of resistance there before, and all-time highs will be big as well. But where I really want to focus on, right, is, if we do see a breakout above 60K, which I think is coming, right? We've had this we've formed such a nice base here. I think we have an at the high breakout coming. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start. Welcome in, guys, to another Sunday night live stream. We are back after a brief intermission last week. I hope you guys have had an amazing weekend. We are now entering the last week of August, last full week of August. Let me preface, right? We made it. If you're at this point and you're still trading and your account is still intact, then congratulations, that's an accomplishment. If it's your first August, pat yourself on the back. Don't make any huge mistakes this week. Really important to just keep grinding and making sure you're staying focused on doing the right things, sticking to those A+ setups, and just obviously, remain dialed in, right? Stick to what's been working, trade where you have an edge, and don't let things get out of hand. It's just one last week to grind through. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a enhanced amount of BS on a lot of stuff this week, just because it is the last week of August. It seems to be one of the toughest as we head into Labor Day. The market generally does slow down, so we just want to make sure that we're doing the right things in that front. Yeah, I am going to watch NVIDIA for an at the high breakout. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But the first thing I want to talk about is the Bitcoin, right? I want to talk about crypto because I think this is going to be a fantastic focus for this week. We've had a really nice weekend on Bitcoin. I've seen a really nice breakout on the weekly above this 47K area, which was a huge level of resistance. A lot of people thought we were going to fail at that 200 SMA. We've cleared it, now building traction over it. So I'm extremely bullish for a Bitcoin run now towards that 60K mark, if not at the highs. So again, guys, on big crypto gap ups over the weekend, I never like to chase. That's a big thing for me, is I don't want to chase names like Mara, Riot, etc. Almost always when crypto gaps up over the weekend, we get offered a beautiful dip right at some point on Monday. So remember, guys, you don't have to chase off open. It can be nice for a scalp, but if you're looking for a bigger move to go heavier in, you might want to wait for that opportunity on a dip. Riot being one of them, right? Riot is now lagging Bitcoin big time. Right? We're at new highs. Part of this is because, the small cap index is down, ARK is down, etc., right? But if you want to look at highs from this past year, right, when Bitcoin was in that range, of 60K plus, right, we saw this massive move up to 70, right, which was crazy. But I wouldn't be surprised if we do see another move towards this 51 area sooner than later. It's going to be an area that I'll target, some heavy resistance at the $45 mark. If we can clear that, that'll be a big trigger for me long side. If we see new at the highs on Bitcoin, I'm sure we could see a move up to the $67 area. I'm not sure if we'll see new at the highs, but very, very bullish on Riot for this week. just want to make sure that we're paying attention to some of the smaller names who haven't exactly had a run yet off of Bitcoin, right? So like SOS, some names like that are just completely beaten down. I want to focus on some of these names because I think they'll offer a really nice opportunity in the coming week. SOS is extremely beaten down. Any is another one. There is no options on this one, but they have shares. So just some names to add to your watch list along with the others. I think this can be a really nice mover again, especially if it gets over its previous high of 6. But the overall market has to cooperate with this stuff, right? You can't like exclusively rely on levels and charts for this kind of thing. You have to really make sure that you're realizing that the general overall market conditions play a huge part into these moves we see. So just because Bitcoin's ripping and you buy calls doesn't mean those calls are going to print, because the overall market, right? If ARK is getting creamed or the small cap index is getting creamed, right? Those can be other factors that can hinder growth and these moves that we want to see, right? So just make sure that you're doing the right things. Make sure you're paying attention to the overall market and looking for market weakness in key areas that are going to affect the stocks that we're trading, right? So BTBT is another one. This one did have a humongous run. I'm looking at the daily here. If we can break over the 14 level, we had a lot of trouble with it on Friday. Fantastic move. There was 2 opportunities to play it humongously in terms of on the calls on Friday. Offered huge gains twice, off open once and then again. Really made the most of it. We did break out of this falling wedge. As I mentioned on Friday, I thought this was an extremely bullish setup. The fact that we were breaking out of this falling wedge. So I'm extremely bullish on BTBT for this week. It is one of my favorite setups, right? We broke out of this falling wedge. Now we have this really nice room to 20 plus, in my opinion. So I really like BTBT this weekend, going into this week. Do I think now is a good time to get in SoFi for long term? Yeah, I mean, I like it down here. It's definitely better than buying at 20, right? I try to not buy any higher than 17. I loaded like 500 shares at 17. I had 500 shares at 15 before that, and then I'm gonna try to get another 1,000 shares down here, and then I'll be good, probably. Anyway, BTBT, one of my favorite setups this weekend coming out of this falling wedge. Honestly, this is exactly what you want to see, right? Could have looked for a little bit better candle on the daily on Friday, but earnings were decent. Not a huge thing to look at, but I think this could be a really nice mover headed into this week. Straying away from some of the Bitcoin names, some of the other names I'm going to watch heavily, right, are going to be AMD. I know a lot of people have kind of focused on this one, but the setup is extremely bullish. Broke out of a falling wedge again. We know the levels on this one, right? And I took a break kind of from trading it because after that big run, right, we tend to see a break. But we know that some of these key levels, 108 is going to be huge, right, in terms of making a move to 110 plus. Over 110, this one like pretty strong resistance at this 111 area. Once we make a move over this 111 area, I think we should see a really nice breakout back to at least at the highs. So that 122 area will be big. So really want to focus in on making sure we close over 107 tomorrow. If we can get a close over that 107, 108 area, like I said, I'm very bullish for a move to 110 plus. The 110 weekly calls are cheap. So I'm going to make sure to look at those and keep an eye on them this week. I really like this. Again, very similar setup technically to BTBT, right? We broke out of this falling wedge, as you can see right here, right? Broke out of this falling wedge, and now we have a really nice room up. You guys can tell that my levels are a little bit precise on this one, right? But huge resistance at the 113, 112 area. That's going to be a major area to grind through. I think we should grind through 108 pretty easily. The 112, 113 area is going to be a pretty big area of resistance. So I think that's going to be a big one to watch. Nvidia is another one. Few people are mentioning it in the chat right now. Yes, Pelosi bought calls on Friday. Looks like it wants that at the high breakout, which is crazy just because the stock has been so strong, right? So we really want to focus on this area right here, right, which is the 110 or 210 level. Obviously, you know, the 109 level is kind of like our key technical level, right? 208.75, right? Over this level, we should see a major breakout, right? And this has been one theme that's been extremely hot in this market, right? Is these at the high breakouts, right? Think about the major breakouts that we have seen that have actually followed through, which is an important theme to pay attention to, right? AMD, right? Major multi-year breakout. It followed through, huge move, 22-point move over at the highs, right? PFE, major at the high breakout, had the follow through, tons of call buying, extremely bullish flow, right? But we need to make sure that we're buying the confirmation of this break, right? You don't want to enter on a false breakout, right? So if you see a 1 minute candle and you hit 209 and you're buying that breakout, that is one of the most dangerous points to get in because, right, if we reject that level and pull back and we don't get a 5 minute close over 208.75, what's going to happen, right? We're going to reject hard. We're going to pull back on the nearest point of support, which is like 205. But those are where call premiums are the most inflated, is on that breakout. So if you're going to buy the breakout, you have to make sure you're waiting for confirmation, in my opinion, because that's where we can offer the best risk reward. That's where we have an edge on the trade. Does that make sense? Not necessarily. Implied volatility is more about like if the stock has a catalyst, or if, you know, I mean, may you see a small increase? Yes, it's not going to be like implied volatility when you have earnings or something like that. The implied volatility will go crazy if we break at the highs and then start ripping, right? But if you're already in the calls, the higher IB, you can just kind of ride out. I'm not playing one or the other, guys. I'm going to focus on playing whichever offers the best setup. NVIDIA will be high on my watch list because of the fact that we're talking about a huge at the high breakout. So I'm going to pay very close attention to it. The revenue beat was really, really nice. Yeah, 227 would be nice. I think you could look at the 220 calls for an NVIDIA. I think that'll offer a really nice opportunity as long as the overall market is strong. How do I predict price once it's in price exploration? Yeah, I'll use fibs sometimes. Most of the time, I'm just kind of riding because, you know, if I'm buying at the high breakout, fibs can be useful. That's what most people are going to use, and that's how you kind of have to use them if you're going to be in the calls longer than a day. Most of the time, I'm just kind of treating it as like a breakout move, and I'm in there for like a 5-point move, hopefully. I don't usually get greedy enough to be sticking around in that price exploration too long because in this market, it's a little bit tougher, but I think you have to decide. I try to look at the RSI on multiple different time frames and really decide when something's overbought or oversold, because mRNA is a perfect example. Fibs don't tell you the entire story. Sometimes stocks rip way more than you think, and sometimes they have really weak breakouts like PFE, right? So yeah, I think NVIDIA looks really good for 220 plus because the 161 level fib is above that. So that's what we're talking about using fib retracements, right? Which you can use on Webull. They're up here in the tools tab. I've gone over fib retracements. I used to use them on Riot all the time. There is a video on the Saved Lives playlist about fibs. And I'll do a Technical Tuesday on that coming up. It's kind of probably a little bit too much to tackle for tonight. But yeah. Yeah, of course. Some other names that I really, really want to watch this week with Bitcoin, not necessarily just Bitcoin, but coin itself. I tweeted on Friday that the invisible hand wanted coin to close under 260. If you don't know what I meant by that statement, is that the market makers want coin to close under a certain price point because of the fact that they want the options to close under a certain point, right? And you can see that on Friday we touched 260. There were probably a large number of calls that were at the 260 price point, And market makers don't want those, and call sellers, right, don't want those to end up in the money, because that means that they're going to get assigned, right? Which means that those people that were selling those calls, right? But look at what happened. We got flushed down, but we got flushed, and we're just sitting at a major support level, which is this 256 level, right? And you can tell that's when you know your levels are kind of on point, because look at these like wicky candles right here, right? Like, look at that, guys. Just wick down and touch that point exactly. That's how I know my levels are money, perfect. 255.87. Look where we closed on that candle, 255.87. So, yeah, I'm not gonna be pushing it till Labor Day, guys. Once Labor Day once we get through Labor Day, I think we should see a really nice market. I'm not too concerned, and I'm not saying nice market like everything's going to be ripping and bullish. I'm saying a nice market in terms of we'll have a theme, we'll have some direction. Even if that direction is down, we'll have more volume, we'll have a lot more action, right? That's a good time to go heavier and have a little bit more capital ready. Like I said, I've been saying it for a few days, but I'm excited for the colder weather, because the colder weather means a hotter market. So I'm ready for the heat to be done, bring on the cold weather, the football, and the hotter market, right? So, but yeah, is ADA on fire right now? 280? Ooh. Come on, guys, you gotta respect it. Manz joins ADA at 240 on Friday or Thursday, whatever day it was. Damn, 88 bulls. What's going on? Yes, sir. Crypto portfolio is looking nice. Very, very nice breakout on ADA. ADA bulls. Remember that. But yeah, guys, I think coin will be really nice. We flushed down to that support level on Friday. So I really, really like it for a move up. What I want to see on coin, right, is I want to see a break of the 262 level. I've talked about that multiple times, but the 262 level is crucial. Like I said, once we get back over that 262 level, 274 will be big, and then over 274 back at the highs. This move is coming at some point, right? I've been harping on it. Other people have harped on it. This move is going to come, right? We're going to eventually fill that gap back to 429. If you really want to talk, I don't want to mention taking a swing in this market, but if you want to talk about a swing I kind of like, would be October 450 calls on coin, or 400 calls. I think that could be a major, major swing opportunity, but who really knows, right? But honestly, I think that with Bitcoin, give it a couple months, guys, and coin is going to make that move back to 430, right? 430 plus. It's just a matter of time. All we're doing down here is gaining strength. They killed earnings. That's why I'm long in the account, right? So I really, really like it. But yeah, like I said, don't forget, coin 400 calls, October and November. Maybe I'll take a position, right? I'm going to get the swing account probably kind of fired up after Labor Day, so we'll see. Let's see what those are trading at, actually. What are those trading at? $390 calls for October are cheap. 150. It's tempting. Yeah, that's what I want to do too. Yeah, I want to get the swing account kind of fired up. Skills, yeah, I don't know. Skills seems like it has such a good Momo behind it. Skills is definitely bottom down here. It's insane. It's sitting at SPAC levels, which is crazy to me. But I want this to be a reminder to you guys, right? can skills go lower? Sure. But one of the biggest things is guys, skills, right? It's just like a case study, right? Like it's basically proof that these SPAC names can go lower. That's what you have to pay attention to, right? Is like, just because I think SoFi is a fantastic buy at 13 because it's been there for a long time, right? It's bounced off that point for, on the weekly, right? Doesn't mean that it can't go to 10, right? Like skills is the perfect example of that. It's at 10 now, right? It's at its SPAC level. Is this a great swing? Probably, right? But you never really know, right? This company could go bankrupt. That's why these SPACs are so sketchy. That's why, or you know what I mean? And I don't think SPACs are like extremely sketch, but that's why people get spooked by them. And that's why you're seeing this type of move, right? Is because people worry. And this is just proof that you have to be careful with your longer term investments, right? Personally, when I see a chart like this, what comes to mind for me is buy the fear, buy the FUD, right? That strategy has never proved me wrong, right? I bought Doge at 16 and 17, 5-6 weeks ago, already doubled my money, right? Now I'm in ADA, right? All I'm saying is every time I bought the fear, I bought CCIV at 18, it went to 30. I bought SoFi at 16, went to 25. Every time I bought the fear on these names, it's always played out well. For me, what I want to see on a chart like this is a bounce off of the 983 level. That would be healthy for me to see. Just to show that we have some support on the weekly chart. I never thought I'd be drawing the support line, but here I go. And you guys know I love trading skills. Unfortunately, their earnings weren't as good as they should have been, but if we see an overall bounce in the speculative names, skills is a fantastic name to keep an eye on. Right, and there is maximum FUD, right? So this is a fantastic time to be scaling into those names because we know that they're going to offer a major opportunity to the upside soon, right? That's almost always how it goes, guys. Almost always. So if you want my opinion on that type of stuff, that's where I come from. Every time I've bought the FUD, I've been rewarded. I bought the FUD on Dogecoin, etc. Give me 1 second, guys. I gotta... Alright guys, I'm back. I actually have a bathroom in my office, which is pretty cool. So I'll give you guys a house tour soon, but that is pretty cool because, instance like that, I don't even have to leave my office, but demon time Manz, indeed. But yeah, guys, I kind of went over some of my favorite names for this week, which are going to be Coin, AMD, and NVIDIA. What I really want to focus on this week, guys, is quality over quantity, right? We want to focus on making sure that we're devoting our focus to the right names. You always have to remember, if you're focusing on 4 trades at once, each of those trades only has 25% of your focus, right? And in August, when the market isn't working with us, that's when we need to make sure that 100% of our focus is where our money is. And that's how you really prioritize your count and make a move upwards, right? When so many people are fighting that downward pressure because they're not, unfortunately, doing the right things, right? And that's where you separate those who are disciplined and those who aren't, right? And those who are disciplined are going to prevail when the market is like this, and come out on the other side better, right? And what you want to do is position yourself so when September and October comes and the market's starting to heat up, you have more money to accelerate your growth, right? So that's really what we want to focus on here. It's the last week. Don't let a big mistake take away all the progress that you've worked for this summer, right? And in this August. Don't let one mistake, even if you haven't seen the growth monetarily in your account with the P&L size, don't let one mistake lead you to blow up your account and not be able to continue to grow come September, come October, come November. When the market is scorching hot and people are doubling their accounts left and right, you'll be quadrupling your account just because you're in the right spot, in the right state of mind, right? I've said this a million times, guys, but the majority of your income is going to come from 4 to 5 months out of the year. The rest of those months are, small profits, consistently growing, but those really big months are going to make up probably at least 70% of your year, right? So just make sure you're doing the right things and really leading yourself and setting yourself up for a successful last week, right? Discipline is key, guys. That doesn't change because the week changes. Yep, so key levels on AMD for me. Someone asked, so I'll give those before I go. 107.79 is big. As we get in a little bit tighter here. 107.79 is big. For me, 108.75 is where I want to see a close over. I don't think we're going to see an intraday break, but if we see a close over 108.75, I'll be very bullish for the move to 110.24 and then over 112. I really think we see a really nice move up, probably to 114 and then at the highs, right? Because we've got this really nice, we had this super wicky candle. So I think that we'll see a move. I know 114 did act as some support the last time we traded it, but that's kind of going to be the move I'm looking for, right? It is, a move over 108.75 and then 110 and then 112. So those are going to be the levels that I'm looking for. Microsoft looks good for an at the high break. It already spiked so hard on Friday. The calls are a little bit overextended for me, just because, right, it already, there's that dyslexia coming in. It already had such a big move on Friday that, the calls went I think next week calls went 1,000% on Friday. So not something for me that's super interesting, just because I'd rather not chase, but, looks good for a breakout move, could see 320. But for me, I'm going to focus on names like NVIDIA, who still haven't had the breakout, because I know that I have an edge at that point. This type of chart does also make you kind of think that we're going to see one of these market corrections soon when we see, kind of a breakdown and we kind of, we're going to have to meet this trend line at some point soon, right? So I don't know when that'll be, but it looks like it's shaping up to be early September. So what time frames do I look at when determining levels? I'll look at the weekly very briefly, then look at the daily, then I'll look at the hourly. This is where I'll really adjust my levels to a exact point. The hourly is where I really like forming my levels from, as long as I'm entering for a day trade. And then I'll look at the 5 minute. So the moment I'm about to enter the trade, I'll make sure I'm buying at a support level. And then I'll just double check the hourly and make sure that I'm looking at a good support level ad that I'm not chasing, right? So those are the big things for me. Yeah, so I think NVIDIA looks good. Someone mentioned that again, but that'll be one of my main watches. Bitcoin is breaking out as we speak. I don't know if you guys can see. This is definitely bullish for tomorrow. But like I said, and there'll be a lot of focus on NVIDIA and things like that, but their revenue beat, you can't really ignore it. So, there's a good view of Bitcoin just broke out of this consolidation right here. And there's the gap up, right? And so that just shows you guys, this is a perfect example, right? That you can trade levels on anything, right? You can easily see there was resistance right here at 49.52 on Bitcoin, right? And look at what happens, right? We get this major gap up, So I just want to point that out, that you can trade levels on anything, guys, right? You could have told me, right? You can tell there was resistance right here, right? It's not that difficult, right? Everybody's looking at the same chart as you. This was a $200 move, in and out, right? Key level boot camp, exactly. All right, guys, I'm going to get some sleep. It was a fun Sunday night live. I love going over these things with you guys and getting ready for the week ahead. This is when the real money is made, is when the market's closed. So just make sure you're doing the right stuff, guys. Take care of that body, take care of that mind, and we are shaping up to kill it this week, right? So many beautiful setups. We are looking at a fire week ahead, guys. So I will see you guys first thing in the morning for the pre-market live. If you're not in yet, we may have some next level merch dropping this week. Shh. All right, guys, I will see you guys this week. Have a fantastic week and Sunday night. Seriously, guys, have a great Sunday night. Get some rest. 88 to the moon, and I will see you guys first thing in the morning. Have a fantastic night, guys. Take it easy, team.